101.3 Nigeria Info.
Yeah, morning everybody. Good morning and welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. Today is Thursday, and I think I told you weeks ahead, I think sometime last week, that I was going to have Pastor Wale Adefarasin. Now there are so many Adefarasins. There are about 3 pastors, right?
3 in my immediate family, but some
yes.
of our children have also become pastors.
Have also become pastors. So Pastor Wale Adefarasin is of the Guiding Light Assembly. There's this feeling that people have, maybe because I'm a bit more radical in my speech, they probably think that I don't like pastors. People have said that. It's far from the truth. The gentleman sitting in front of me knows how much I respect him and how much I love him. I'm just like a principled man who would say things the way they are. I'm not diplomatic. That's the way I was born. That's where I was brought up. So, Pastor Wale, I respect so much. I could put my life in his hands, in all honesty. And I've known him the better part of my life, right from when I was young. We're not friends, but we have common friends, so much, whatever, even before he became the pastor back in the day. So morning, Pastor, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here, yes. Last time you interviewed me, you remember?
Yes.
You still have that program?
No, we haven't. We're thinking of getting back to it.
I think you should. I think it's needed now. In all honesty, we do need people like you to straighten out so many things that we have, both morally and so on and so forth. And I'm sure that's the reason why you have this Do Right. Is it a campaign or an organization?
It's called Do Right Awareness Initiative.
Yes.
It's doing a lot of things: campaigning, advocacy, and also, we're actually in some schools teaching values.
To my God, that's good. Are they public schools?
Public schools, government-owned schools.
It's been long needed. How do you go about it? I'd just like to know. Do you have them? Do you have like Do Right clubs in schools, like we had the good old Boy Scouts and so on and so forth?
Well, we've gone into 5 local governments and 5 schools in those local governments as a pioneer project.
Okay.
We're starting something like a club. We leave them caps and we teach them to teach other people, other pupils. So we start with SS3. They're about to leave school, but we teach them. They teach the one that are following them. That's
So they're not clubs yet. They're not
clubs yet. But hopefully, in the future, we would spread our tentacles around schools. And then it becomes a household name, Do Right.
Do Right, yes. What about adults? You should have them in offices. You should have them in offices,
It would be a great thing to do that. But, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's more difficult to teach the adults than it is the children. And we want to get the children early before they become corrupted. By the cultures of
but
society.
You're going to run into a bit of a problem, though, because what you do find is that the older ones are not setting good examples for them to follow.
Yes, that is true. One of the campaigns we have is just driving on our streets. People are late for where they're going, and so they go the wrong way down the road. It's become a culture. Nobody chastises them. Everybody just follows them and does the same thing.
Yes.
So it's generally, there's a lot to do. We can't do it all, so we're trying to bite to pick the low-hanging fruits, the ones we can do as we grow ourselves to where we can reach out more. We want to go nationwide. We started in Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. We haven't really done very much in those other 2 cities, except to start the campaign off.
It's not a Christian thing, is it?
It's everybody's thing, but it's
Yes,
inspired by the scripture that says righteousness exalts a nation.
I mean, that's across the board.
Across
Anyway,
the board,
across
yes.
the board. Yes, I just wanted, I wanted people to understand that it's not a church. It's a church initiative, yes, but others can join.
Absolutely,
Yes.
we have Muslims on our membership. One of the things that we're passionate about is to make sure that it doesn't become tagged a Christian thing. So I try to stay as far in the background as I can, so that, because once people see me, they say
It's a Christian thing, yes.
Yeah.
Which is part of our thinking that bothers me. You and I both grew up in Lagos. Those kind of distinctions were not there. I mean, I grew up from a Muslim background. Tomorrow is Good Friday. I think once or twice my mother also cooked frijon. We were Muslims. We cooked frijon. But these days, there's this sensitivity about religion that also bothers me that people don't understand.
It's the politicians.
It's the politicians, yeah. Yeah.
They've weaponized religion.
Wow.
As it were.
Wow. There's also been a lot of criticism of pastors, though. I'm sure you've seen quite a lot. Indeed, I have somebody who's coming on my program. I think it's next week, Friday, I think. She's coming up on my program. And she's revealing a lot. I mean, there are some naughty pastors, to put it politely.
They're naughty everything.
They're not There's some naughty pastors. There's this controversy about tithes. What's this about tithes? I'd like to know your opinion about tithes.
Well, the first thing I'll say is that tithing is not a condition that takes you to heaven.
Okay.
You know, if you don't tithe, you won't go to hell. You know, what tithing does for you is it places your finances in God's hands. God can trust you with what He has entrusted you with. And but if you don't tithe, that doesn't mean you go to hell, because we don't go to heaven by works. We go to heaven because we are saved by Jesus Christ. He has come into our lives.
When you say we, you mean Christians. Or everybody?
Well, I'm speaking about Christians because I'm a Christian.
Because it's good to make that distinction, not to say that only Christians will go to heaven.
As far as I am concerned, the Bible prescribes the conditions that will take us to heaven.
Who are us now?
Christians.
Christians, okay.
Or believers, whosoever believes. Jesus Christ said, John 3:16, that He, as many as come to Him, He will save.
Okay.
So heaven is not somewhere. You know, I'm in heaven right now.
Am I there with you?
Are you a believer?
I'm a Christian.
Then you're here. You're with me in heaven, because we're seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. That's what makes the difference for us. So your works, your good works, will not take you to heaven. What takes you to heaven is your abiding belief in the salvation.
So, in summary, you don't see anything against tithing itself.
I encourage people. I will
to
encourage people to tithe, because I've seen marvelous things happen to people's lives
who tithe.
And as I said, any preacher who says if you don't tithe you're going to hell is wrong.
Okay. So it's optional.
Is being a generous person optional?
Yeah, it's optional. I mean, I'd rather you be, but if you're not, it's optional. So, because what happens to you if you're not a generous person?
If you're not a generous person, you will not have generosity expressed towards you. You know, do unto others as you have them do unto you. You know,
and it's important that people should know, when we talk about generosity, don't start thinking of money.
Yeah, people
and
do
wealth.
go to money first.
Yes, because some people don't know that some of the so-called wealthy people you see, They are not happy people. Some of them, not all. They're troubled.
We need to be generous with our time, with our ears. I mean, COVID has taught us that there are so many mental health issues, even in our society, and people are going through things, and
yes.
they don't talk about them. We need to be generous with that, and we also need to be generous with our money. I'm saddened by the fact that people wake up in the morning and there's nothing to eat. There's nothing to feed their children.
Yes.
There's no money to pay school fees or transport to school. It's just an impossible situation. And yet there are people who have huge amounts of money and live sometimes not too far away. Yes, you can't do everything, but do the best you can.
You can. Yeah. Does that also have to do with empathy?
Yes, empathy is important, but let me put it this way: we are stewards of all the resources God has put in our hands, and we know what He does to good stewards. He rewards them. So we steward His resources. They don't belong to us. And one of the biggest lessons is life. And sometimes I say, I'd like to take people on a visit to the mortuary, because that's where everybody will end. And
whatever it is.
Yes. Everything you accomplished in earth, everything you acquired ends there. You can't take it away. This
is an inappropriate question to ask, but sometimes the naughtiness in me takes over. I was going to ask you, and you can decide not to comment, but was going to ask you what you felt about the recent development that happened in the Redeemed Church, City of David, about the 60th birthday party that took place so close to. I know it's an unfair question, but I'm never fair to you.
No, the truth is that it would be unfair and inappropriate for me to make any comment on a friend.
Who's your friend now?
The people that you're talking about.
The man who died, or the people who had the party?
The party.
Oh, were you at the party?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't invited anyway.
If you had been invited, would you have gone?
I don't know.
I saw a famous pastor there, and I was... but I won't mention his name. I don't want to embarrass him.
So you were there?
I wasn't there. No, I saw it. No, Mike. I saw it in the videos. I don't move in these big circles.
Yes,
I'm a small boy just rolling the ball down the road.
I think he's a man under authority, and his authorities will, at their appropriate time, have a word with him. I hope that happens. I am not in a position to say anything about what happened.
Yeah.
If it had been a governor that did something like that, then he's a public citizen.
Yes.
And we have the right to criticize.
Yes.
Okay,
because that even falls under this do-right thingy that we are talking about. And I'd like to join you in principle that anything I can do to help this do-right, whatever, please let me know. And that would include getting your members once in a while, giving them time on radio to come and talk to our listeners about do right. Because look, Pastor, take religion and everything out of it. The major problem we have in this country is embedded in those two words: doing right. Doing right. Oh, by the way, if you can't talk about that, I'm sure you can talk about first fruit. I'm sure you can talk about first fruit. Let me give you, for example, Itwa Gudalo believes in first fruits. We'll go into a boxing match today. He comes into this studio.
What is important?
Yes.
Is that we believe in the really important things. We believe that Jesus died on the cross.
Yes.
He was buried and he rose again.
Yes.
We believe that he saves us. His death saved us from the penalty of sin, and so on. Some of these issues, first fruit, tithe, are really insignificant in comparison to the importance of our salvation.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you stopped a member of Guiding Light,
Yes.
and asked them if they pay first fruits, or if they give their first fruits, some of them do, some of them don't.
On their own volition.
On their own volition. I haven't thought about first fruits for yonks. And it's difficult. I mean, for many people, first fruit and tithe is more or less the same thing. When the Bible is referring to first fruits, it's talking about tithing. There's a lot of discussion about first fruits. The practice sometimes is I want to say ungodly, because for somebody to take their whole January salary, this is the practice of some, and you know that seems, what do they live on? God is not that kind.
But those who give willingly, you don't give it back to them and say, don't strain yourself, go take care of your family.
Put it this way: when they give, they put it in the offering basket.
So you don't even get to know.
So we don't get to know.
Yes.
Sometimes if they transfer, they might write first fruit on it. You know, so we're not. You know what concerns me the most?
Yes.
About our faith,
Yes.
is building people's character.
Yes.
You unfortunately, and I say this with caution, unfortunately, the church has taught so much about prosperity, miracles, signs and wonders, and left character building out of the equation. With character, people can prosper if the character is right. So my passion is to see people's character. Christianity is not a religion; it's a relationship. And we want to encourage people to have that relationship with God, so that you can hear from God yourself. You don't have to have the pastor tell you what God is saying. You can ask God, and He'll tell you what He wants you to do.
So it's not exclusive. Hearing God speak is not just for, like they say, the man of God. What's the definition of man of God, though?
A man that works for God.
All of us work for God.
But yes, so you're a man of God.
I'm a man of God, yes. When I say, if I tell people, I say, look, I'm a man of God. What I'm doing, I'm saving souls. I'm trying to save souls as much as I can from what I'm doing.
You know, little Samuel.
Yes.
Little Samuel.
Yes.
Heard from God. He couldn't recognize the voice of God at first, but his mentor Eli taught him, said, if you hear that voice again, say, have you heard from God? Yes, because God speaks in so many ways.
How do you identify that this voice is God's? I mean,
by the Holy Spirit on the inside of me.
Okay.
We could be wrong. There are times you think you've heard from God. But usually when God speaks, He confirms with 2 or 3 other witnesses. Somebody may walk up to you and say, have you thought about this recently? And it's something that you believe God has spoken to you about. So yes. Now, I have not heard from God in an audible voice.
Oh, I see.
But I've heard with promptings in my spirit, this is the direction to go. Or circumstances and situations, God has spoken to me through them. Yeah. Okay,
so I have Pastor Wale Adefasin here of the Guiding Light Assembly, and actually he's here to discuss the do right, but my naughty self, I wouldn't just let him go without asking. So we just done half of it. We'll soon take a break. When we come back, we'll take your contributions. 0700 993 993 993, and the female number. We have a female number here, Pastor, just for balance. The women complain. We'll give them a line. So the female line only 0201 465 7190. When you're going to call in, I know a lot of people, our lines are ticking already. Just go straight to the point. Give your name and go straight to the point. Chris, you can call today since you didn't call yesterday. We keep telling them not to call every day, So there's this particular, and I know you'd like to ask you a question. So we'll take a very short break and we'll be right back.
touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment. Information, news, talk every day.
And the woman make you steal.
Oh yes, a woman can make you do a lot of it, as you know.
The judge cannot find you culpable for a crime when there are no rules for even the extent of the punishment.
Those women who are leaders in politics, they refuse to marry because of what they are nagging. When it comes to that position, we would rather divorce.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Creamer. Where you need to have the break time. Kivo Creamer. It's not tea, Papa Garita. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
Trader, are you ready for the flight? Yeah. Maximize your gains day or night. The platform, HFM is the name. Trading with us is a brand new game. Come on, feel alone, execution slow. Switch to HFM, watch your success grow. Higher leverage, tighter spreads and swap free. Got your back in this financial fight. Trade forex, commodities, indices, shares and more. Just come and see HFM online trading. Withdrawals, deposit done in a dash. Our execution too fast. HFM stands apart from the rest. HFM stands apart from the rest.
Pico, HFM finito, HFM is ito. HFM national platform, online trading, forex trading, any trading. HFM no delay.
Join HFM today. Visit www.hfm.com or download the HFM app on Google Play or App Store. HFM, online trading at its finest.
The drama, the suspense, the emotions, the gang moments. Don't miss out on Nollywood movies and web series on YouTube with the YouTube Buffet plan from MTN. You can enjoy over 10 hours of Nollywood content made for you. Sharply dial *312*800# to activate the YouTube Buffet plan from MTN and start enjoying YouTube made for you.
I love Honeywell.
Now your favorite brand, Honeywell, is back. Available in noodles, semolina, and pasta in stores nationwide.
Honeywell is back with it. Everybody come and sing.
Lagos, gear up for the second edition of Upbeat Fest happening this Easter from the 29th of March to April 1st, 2024. Be part of the Upbeat Fest. Come with your family and friends and enjoy a truckload of fun experiences like the Easter egg hunt, fun obstacles and games, live entertainment, trampoline jumping, wall climbing, trampoline basketball, and thrilling water tag competitions. That's not all. Kids get face painting, arts and craft sessions with the Upbeat Fest Fun Fair Games, where plenty of rewards await. It's a thrilling 4 days extravaganza for all ages. Tickets include basic bunny package for 5,000 naira, regular bunny package for 17,000 naira, standard bunny package for 20,000 naira, premium bunny package for 25,000 naira, and family bunny package for 80,000 naira that covers a group of 5. Tickets can be purchased on site at our center or at trx.africa/discover/Upbeat Fest. Upbeat Fest. Fun for one, fun for all. Refreshed by Ribena.
Get ready to make your holiday season even more rewarding. Book your flight tickets through the Access More app and save big. Awesome savings, big enough to go shopping. Whether you're traveling locally or exploring international destinations, be sure to enjoy good flight rates from various airlines. Plus, it's simple and safe to use. An extra rewarding booking experience. To book, simply open the Access More app, scroll to the lifestyle section, select Book Flight, open your flight details, book, pay, and that's it. Your flight ticket is ready. Download the Access More app and book a flight today. Access, more than banking.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. and at Sahur and Iftar. Bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with Knorr. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. Knorr, eat for good.
Anywhere Clara enter like this, people must give am compliment.
Clara. This your sense makes sense, so. Now because I dey use Wazobia.
Anywhere Johnny enter sef, people must comot cap for am.
Johnny. As you enter like this, everywhere just begin smell nice. Which kind of perfume you dey use?
Now Wazobia perfume, oh.
Yes, sir. Wazobia na the correct scent wey get quality. E dey last long and e dey give man and woman confidence any day, anywhere.
For authentic scent wey dey indigenous, make you choose Wazobia.
E dey available in perfume and body spray.
You fit get am for stores, supermarkets and open market. E also dey available on top Jumia.
Remember, no be only how you take dress, na also how you take smell.
Wazobia, correct scent for correct people.
Okay, investment full ground, oh. Service where you feel trust, oh. It's time to live the good life, oh. Secure the bag with I Invest. I invest, oh. With I Invest, secure the bag. I invest, oh. With I Invest, hey, secure the bag. I invest, oh. With I Invest, secure the bag. With I Invest, oh. The bag. I invest, oh.
Yes, I Invest is one way to build lasting wealth. Buy Nigerian equities. Get higher interest rates on fixed deposits and savings. Visit www.i-investng.com to access a wide range of other financial products that offer good returns on your investments. All transactions are done through regulated financial institutions. I Invest. Let's help you secure the bag.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
You're welcome back to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, and I still have Pastor Wale Adefarasin. We're talking mainly about the Do Right initiative that he leads. I hope I got that right. For want of a better word,
sure,
that he
sure.
leads. And when we were on break, he said to me that membership is open. And I think the more people we have who sign into this, the better. They can go to your website.
Absolutely.
You remember what happened to the civil defense man in Channels many years ago? You remember your website, do you?
I'm trying to remember.
You remember it's a www. That's all. But if you actually do type "do right" in Google, you'll get it. Yes, or even if you just type Pastor Wale Adefarasin and Google, you'll get it. Pastor, I remember one time, I used to come to your church. One time that day I'd never seen you lose your temper, but you practically did, and you said that it had gotten to a point where you don't want to be called pastor anymore. And that we could call you Brother Wale or Mr. Defarasi or Mr. Wale or Uncle Wale, whatever, but Pastor. Do you still feel that way today?
The title pastor is an office. It's not a title.
Title,
really.
Yes.
And you never see them say Pastor Peter or Pastor James or Pastor John. They were apostles, but we've got this craze
for titles.
I was talking to a surgeon, a Nigerian surgeon, the other day, and I said, "Are you doctor or Mr.?" And he said, technically he is Mr.
Yes, it should be Mr. Yes.
But because of Nigeria, he has to have them call him doctor. Whereas if you called a surgeon abroad in the West a doctor, he would tell you, "No, I'm Mr."
I mean, just like...
So we're crazy about titles in Nigeria, and
yes.
even in the church. Before you know it, there's one fellow who was being consecrated a bishop.
Yes.
And he had to sell his car so that he could buy the
appropriate.
And he sold his car and was now going around by Danfo. And I just thought, why did you, what do you get from this title? So I'm perfectly fine with just being called Brother Wale.
Don't you think that has to do with commercialization of religion itself? Because it's not just in Christianity. You have them in Islam, even in the traditional religions you do have. Because I think what made you say that time was the bad behavior of some people that you found embarrassing.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember the facts of
yeah,
that
you said,
time.
I was there. I was in the church then, and you said that you can call me Brother Wale, I don't want the title of pastor, and so on and so forth. And when I even took you on at the other station too, the issue came up. But you don't have any, because they're under quite a lot of, I'm sure you're not in the social media.
You see, today we have archbishops and
Yes,
bishops, and all kinds of titles. And these, people can award themselves titles these days. So at the end of the day, it's just a craze for
But what makes you a pastor anyway? Isn't there a minimum? Because these, you all of a sudden you wake up and discover that X is a pastor, the other one also says I'm a pastor. Is there a minimum by which a man can actually call himself a pastor?
I think first and foremost, what we must establish is that you can't be a pastor unless God calls you.
How do you know when God calls you?
You would have a witness in your spirit, and there will be a confirmation.
Okay.
Normally, if you're in a church setting, then the senior pastor would also have a witness that you're a pastor. And then what he should do is not come and tell you you're a pastor. He should just approach you, not put you under pressure by saying the Spirit told me, but by saying something like, have you considered being a pastor? That's one. Number two, Paul specifies to Timothy and to Titus some of the qualifications for a pastor. He says, husband of one wife, not given to alcohol, who can rule his home well. Those are qualifications.
Yes.
But
you don't necessarily have to go through some kind of training.
And then Bible school helps. Learning how to study the Bible, studying theology, eschatology, studying various things in Bible school will also help you. Because the objective is not to call yourself a pastor, but to actually touch the lives of other people.
But like I said at the beginning, pastors have been under a lot of pressure these days in the social media. Some of the things attributed to them, miracles, and all kinds of things. And I wonder, do you go through the social media at all?
I do, and I find it's alarming sometimes when you see
some of the things that you see.
Yeah, miracle money.
Miracle money, yes.
Miracle alerts, I think is what
yes,
they're
yes,
calling
that's
it.
what miracle alerts.
We've raised people on a diet of miracles, signs, and wonders. People are looking for self-aggrandizement.
Yes.
They're not looking at how they can be instruments in God's hands to be a blessing to His people. So church has grown up on me, my, and not on what can I do.
There's one particular one that says that he has about 14 different. He uses cantus, J, one for no. You haven't come across that one?
No, I haven't.
Are you kidding? I'll send you a link. But I'm sure you should be worried.
I'll tell you my thoughts on this.
Yes.
Somebody came and sowed tares in a field, and Jesus said, his disciples came to him and said, an enemy came and sowed tares in this field. And Jesus said, don't try to uproot the tares. Leave them, let them grow with the wheat. And then at harvest time, we shall reap the wheat into the barns, and the tares we shall take into the fire. Not everybody that is a pastor is called by God. Some have just called themselves, or they've been called by Satan.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because they're doing all kinds of demonic things. So now the position of the law is that we have freedom, the right to freedom of worship as
yes.
a nation. So you can't regulate religion. What you can regulate is the way that finances are handled. What you can do is try to protect the public from unscrupulous people who will exploit them and extort money from them. So those are about the limits. So I would say just leave everyone. One day will be one day.
One day. Okay, our lines are open now. Let's take the first call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
And good morning to Pastor.
Can you please put the phone to your mouth because I'm getting an echo?
Okay, can you hear me well now?
Yes, it's better now, yes.
Okay, so a quick one here. I like the movement he's bringing up, which is doing right. What do you gain if you make all the prosperity, have all the prosperity, and you have the worst of character? So it doesn't make any sense. Then the question I want to ask, which is what I don't know why the pastors will have these days. Is it that they have meddled themselves with politicians that you cannot see any pastor? I've never seen anyone who will go to a leader or the governor, the president, to say, "Thus says the Lord." This is what it is. I don't care whether you think I belong to this party or not, but this is what the Lord has told me to say.
Okay,
why are we not having such parties? Is it that they are very far from the Lord?
Yes.
Or they are just, would I call it cowards? And which God is frowned against as well. So I want him to talk about that. Thank you.
Okay, the import of what she's saying is that the pastors seem to have bound their people to the Philistines when it comes to political issues, and don't provide and don't provide the guidance that we need to put people on the right path to good governance. The last, we have challenges in this country, and we all know what happened in the last elections. We'll leave it at that. But we did find some visible pastors that should have given direction, so that, Daddy has not spoken to me, which a lot of us found disappointing, because and we also find fraternity between not just pastors, reverends, leaders in Christianity and indeed in Islam and other religions. Fraternity with politicians, misguiding the people. Look at the state we are in now as a country, Pastor Wale. Can you imagine? I want you to close your eyes for 1 second and imagine what life was like when you were in St. Gregory's College way back then and now. Does that bother you?
Well, let me try and answer her question.
Yes.
Madam, there's an art of speaking truth to power.
Okay.
And sometimes you may not realize that pastors are speaking to them behind the scenes. And you want to make sure they continue to listen. So sometimes confronting them publicly is not always the wisest. But there may come a time, or there will come a time, when power has to be confronted. And it will be confronted, I assure you. I know enough pastors who are ready to take the bull by the horns if need be. I am now nearly at my 72nd birthday, and there's nothing else I'm really desiring out of life than to see Nigeria be the country that she deserves to be. And if that means telling truth to power, I'm very ready to do so. There's a price you pay. There's a price you pay when you do that, because I've had notices in our church saying you need to remove your building within 24 hours because of something I said. But that comes with the territory. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I'm glad you said that, so people appreciate what people like me go through on a daily basis. Heaven help us all. Let's pick another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
This is Joy.
Joy, please go on quickly.
I'm baptized. Like me now, nothing can stop me of not paying my tithe, because I know what he do to me.
Yes.
Then about the first fruits, if you read the Bible very well, you still see it. But I agree with him that it's not a license to go to heaven. And Christianity is not a religion. It's a relationship. That is all.
Oh, we lost that. Okay, but I think the point has been made. I don't think she was asking any question.
I didn't hear the question in there.
No, she was. I mean, she was just trying to reiterate what you said. Anyway, that she would always like pay tithes,
and I commend her for that.
Yeah, I mean it's but I'm glad that you said from the onset that it's not compulsory. Is that the import of what you were saying?
I think that I need to qualify that.
Okay.
It is compulsory if you believe that it is something you should do. Every time, if God has revealed to you as an individual that you must pay tithes, then it becomes compulsory for you.
What is done with the tithes anyway? The impression, let me tell you the impression a lot of people have, especially in churches that are owned by an individual. The impression is that the money is whacked, to put it in street language. It's spent. If you have a man who owns a church, he drives a Rolls Royce and so on and so forth. He has a private jet and all, big style of living. And people then pay their tithes. Of course, the impression is that that's probably what he lives on. And he tells you he's a full-time pastor. So what does the Bible say we should do with tithes?
The Bible speaks in the Old Testament about the tithes going to the priests.
Yes. Go to the priests.
They didn't have any inheritance. They weren't given any land, the priests. In my church, and I can't speak for other churches, but in the church I pastor, the tithe goes into the common pool. Tithes and offerings go into a common pool and are used for church issues. We have rules that we follow. There's a percentage, I think it's 25%, that can be spent on administration. The rest must be spent
And then if I remember, I don't know whether it was on or off air, you said that you have your church is fully administered. You have a board of trustees, of which you are not a member.
Yes, that's right.
And so you are paid to be a pastor by the church, which is fine. Yeah. Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is.
Is that how it should be?
Well, it varies because
that's a tricky one, isn't it?
well, no, it's just, some pastors are not paid by their churches at all. What happens is maybe once a year they have a special occasion where people give them, and what they are given.
Those are what you would call part-time pastors.
Not necessarily.
But how do you be a full-time pastor and not be paid?
Well, they're paid by not from the church's coffers, but by individuals who say, I want to support the pastor, and they give the pastor.
Now, that opens the door for all kinds of things, doesn't it? I'd rather have the well-structured one where whatever it is, we pay the pastor, provide him housing, provide him transport. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the problem usually comes from the what do you call it? Let's use a common word, one-man churches, owned by an individual. That's why
one-man churches is a very difficult concept to grasp. Yes. Because the only man that can own a church is Jesus Christ.
Well, for some, we must be honest with ourselves, it's a business enterprise.
Yes, but if you do it legally, it's very difficult to sustain it as a business. You have to register with CAC.
But you remember the resistance when that gentleman, Obazi.
No, but we've always had to register if you want to have a bank account in the name of the church. One way of spotting some of these crude churches, or one-man churches as you call them, is when you pay your tithe. The tithe is drawn in favor of the man, not the ministry, and that's an indication that they have not registered as a church.
So we have unregistered churches, of course. That's what you're saying.
Yes, we do. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Yeah, there's this very critical lady. I think she's somewhere in the States or so, and she's made quite discoveries. She mentioned this part. In fact, there was a preacher at that event somewhere in the States that said, "Oh, don't write your check to the church. Write it to the pastor, because You know about compliance in the US and in the UK. You can't escape these things. Let's take another contribution. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Also, good morning too.
Go on, please, quickly, because we don't have
I
time.
want to ask a question.
Yes.
According to Christendom, some pastors will say that people will say that God spoke to them. Please, I want you to expatiate. How do God speak?
Okay.
An instinct?
Okay.
I just want to know.
I think we had that. I think we had that earlier today, didn't we? We spoke about it. You can go to YouTube and rewind, and you'll be able to hear that because we are running out of time. And there's so many people calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Bidane, Oga Jimmy. What is there is that the paying of tithes is in the Old Testament and in the New Testament.
Yes.
And Abel was the first person to pay tithe by burning the best food out of the produce he has had and making an offering unto the Lord by burning.
Yes.
Then we also have Abraham, who paid tithe to the king of Sharon. Is it Sharon?
I don't know.
King, yeah.
Okay.
To God Almighty.
Okay. The point is
Then
noted.
we also have it in the New Testament.
Yes.
In the book of Hebrews chapter 7.
Yes.
Where that it was said, just like we when we are yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Abraham is our father. He helps him.
Okay. Do you want to react to that? That's historical perspective.
Well, the classic difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament is in the Old Testament, God gave rules. You got to God. You came to God by keeping His laws.
Yes.
In the New Testament, you come to God by Jesus Christ. By accepting His vicarious death on Calvary.
Okay, let's take a last call there. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Good morning.
Yes.
Uncle Jimmy, the another thing is, if you go to hospitals, some pastors used to come there and collect money from patients so that they will pray for them. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. So quickly,
because I had an experience.
Can you buy prayer? Can you buy prayer?
Answer capital no. Do not merchandise the anointing that God has given you. Ma'am, if somebody asks you for money in return for prayer, just refuse. And there's nothing that the pastor can pray for you that you can't pray for yourself. So just go to God yourself.
That's important. It's important to know. Once again, I repeat what Pastor Wale said. You can pray for yourself. You don't need a pastor to pray for you. But you do have a lot of that contractual pastors. And they pray for you. By that extension, must you always lay hands? You know, when sometimes you find people, I want to go and pray for the president and lay my hands on him. Can't you pray for him in the corner of your church or something like that?
You know, we've become victims of the things we were taught. And over the years, we're taught that the man of God has to pray for you.
Has to pray for you, yes.
A pastor can pray and probably has more experience praying. But that doesn't mean that you can't pray for yourself. Now, when it comes to praying for leaders, sometimes I think it's just personal ego. Sometimes,
yes,
that makes people want to lay hands and be photographed laying hands on the president.
There's a question I would have loved to ask you. Yes or no? Do you think a pastor can actually be a traditional ruler?
That's again one of those inappropriate questions. But there are, you see, in my walk with God, I've come to realize that there's nothing God cannot do.
Okay, fair enough.
He can use a pastor as a traditional
ruler
if there's something he wants.
So
to
why did you say it was inappropriate?
Because there are pastors I know who
I know them are your friends.
Traditional rulers.
Okay, so we got to go, Pastor Wale. Thank you very much.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed.
Thank you very much.
Being with you.
Like I said, we are open here, and I mean it's in all sense. Anything that we can contribute to.
We'll surely be back.
I can give you time once a month for us to. I think we'll work that out later. Just once a month for us to build up this Do Right campaign. Okay.
Thank
so
you
that's
so
why
much.
we call it a day. We're back again tomorrow I'll be back at 7:30 with Kofi Battles and at 9 o'clock. But tomorrow is a public holiday. Tomorrow is Free John Day. Shall I say Free John?
Of course.
Tomorrow is Free John Day. And tomorrow is Good Friday. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much to Luwakemi. And my regards to the Deaconess. Tell the Deaconess to go to YouTube and listen to this very well. Thank you very much, Pastor Wale. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Yes, the Alert 545 promo is here again. Now, even more explosive than ever before. Over 90 million naira to be won. You can't afford to miss the season of excitement. To qualify, fund your account with 5,000 naira. Maintain an average account balance of at least 5,000 naira monthly. Make a minimum of 5 transactions monthly on Alert or star 945 hash. And just like that, you could be 1 million naira richer. So, download Alert today or transact without internet on star 945 hash anytime, anywhere. Terms and conditions apply. Wema Bank, with you all the way.
Every morning, na better chance to carry your hustle go higher level. So, make you start your day with the correct taste of Nescafe. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
The holy month of Ramadan is upon us. As we embark in this journey, let's not forget to show love through sharing. Stay ahead with dairy power from Sahur to Iftar. Join us every Monday to Friday as we
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it